is in our morning show. This Monday morning, we're giving you something to add to your calendar for the month of June. Speaking about Loud25 Disrupted, shaping the future work in the Caribbean. It's happening from the 5th to the 7th of June. And joining us this morning in studio is Dana Hayes-Burke from the Caribbean Society for Human Resource Professionals and also workshop facilitator, and Ian John, Loud25 Disrupted presenter and CEO of CyberEye Global. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure to have both of you on the show this morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm sure you're both quite occupied with getting ready for what is going to be a transformational workshop. I think one of the first things we do have to jump into, we know you, of course, Dana, you are known within, of course, the corporate space, the HR space as well. But let's talk about how HR leaders are going to, let's say, benefit from this workshop and the themes that are coming into it. How do you marry everything together?
Okay, so I've had the honor of dealing with this topic of multi-generational diversity in the workforce for about 2 years now. And it's because now the workplace has about 5 generations within it, which means that the dynamics as a leader, as an HR professional has changed. Yeah. You have different needs, you have varying expectations from new talent that's coming into the workplace as well as existing talent. So with this workshop, we're going to look at how are you as a leader, as an HR professional, going to navigate this new dynamic that is resulting in a lot of the times much disgruntlement within the world of work. We often hear concerns about younger people not being as committed. How are we navigating through that? The thing is, this is the talent that we now have. Yeah. And the more we become skillful, we become adaptive, we become inclusive, practically, we're able to retain the talent that we need to take our organizations, our economy, our future into the direction we want to take it into.
You know, something that you've just referenced there is an ongoing conversation. In fact, we see it referenced on social media all the time to the point where it's almost laughable. You see Gen Z, Gen X, boomers, and everybody sort of is able to relate to something within their own workspace. And also sometimes you see the addressing of some misunderstandings that may be had within the workplace itself. What would you say are some of the key misunderstandings that leaders have, particularly across generational lines, let's say, and dynamics?
I think the biggest issue is that most leaders project themselves onto their incoming workforce. So my value system, my work dynamic, I expect to see it from the millennials. I expect to see it from the Gen Zers. But that's not exactly what's going to happen. They are invested in their careers. However, their expectations or the way that they express it is going to be much different. And so the sooner we're able to understand how to bridge the communication gap, and the sooner we're able to deal with our unconscious biases towards different generations, is the sooner that we're going to start seeing a greater level of performance within our team and be more capable of retaining our talent.
This is a very important conversation that does need to be had. So stay tuned to find out where you're going to be able to attend this workshop. Ian, let's bring you into the conversation. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Now, you are also going to be facilitating at this workshop. We're speaking about AI. It's rising. We see, admittedly, a lot of fears that people do have within the workplace. Even leaders themselves do have their concerns. Walk us through what we should be paying attention to when it comes to AI.
Well, firstly, there's a lot of hype. There are lots of headlines, and then there's the reality, right? And the reality of AI is that we are at a point in time in human history when, for the first time, this technology is going to rival human intelligence. And I think that's what the concern is about. What does that mean? That means think about what we do. As humans, we are here to solve problems. We are here to make decisions. And we are hired to do that in the workplace. Some organizations tell you that you're here to think, right? So think about AI achieving human intelligence or superhuman intelligence, and then being able to do it much better than humans at a much faster rate. The issue for HR practitioners is what is happening right now globally. We see a lot of the large companies laying off workers, Microsoft, Meta, Google, all laying off thousands and thousands of employees. And really they say it's about optimization, but it's really about AI absorbing a lot of the roles and the functions that those jobs used to perform, right? So we're concerned about how do HR practitioners prepare the human resources for the organization to ensure that the organization has relevance, to ensure that the workforce is also skilled and capable. So when we think about the jobs, we think about absorbing those roles AI is playing. We also think about some of the roles that AI will be disrupting. However, the areas that we are focusing on is going to be the roles that AI will enhance. So the job that I'm doing as a doctor, what would AI bring to that enhancement of that job as an engineer, as a teacher? All right. And then lastly is there are new jobs that AI is going to create for all of the jobs that are going to be disrupted. How do we prepare as a country, as organizations, as individuals? And that's the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Those jobs, right? Quantum computing, quantum physics. Not necessarily some of the areas that we focus on in our economy in terms of generating wealth for our peoples.
Right, so a lot to unpack, to say the least, because we know the AI conversation continues, the generational impact continues as well. In fact, it's wonderful that you've been able to marry these together into Disrupt HR, because they are two of the critical conversations that are consistent, I think, not just here, of course, in Trinidad and Tobago, but throughout the world. So Dana, let's come back to you. You have a virtual pre-conference workshop, but can you also give us a few more details?
So that's happening on Wednesday, the 20th of May at 11 a.m. It's going to be 90 minutes long, and within that workshop what you're going to leave with are techniques, strategies as to how you can navigate building a high-performance multi-generational team. So at the end of this workshop, not only are you going to have greater insight into the generations that are within your workforce, but what are the practical steps that you can take now that can help you bridge the gap, marry vision, and allow your team to come together in a unified perspective towards a desired goal.
Definitely something I'm looking forward to this, I have to say that for sure. Ian, let's walk, well, your workshop particularly, you did mention AI, and it sounds as though you're definitely bringing the positives when it comes to that. Who's your target participant audience, and when is your workshop taking place?
Well, it's going to be part of the main conference, which is from June 5th to 7th. And we're going to be looking at AI in terms of what does that mean for the labor workforce, and what does it mean for the organization? How do HR practitioners prepare themselves, firstly with the knowledge and the information and the role that they have to play? Let's think about it in the sense that AI is all about people, right? It's not about the machines, it's about the man and the machine. Similarly, digital transformation, we tend to think of it as technology. It's about the people, the process, and the technology, and how the three come together to drive new outputs, new value. So we're going to be focusing on what should the HR practitioners be looking at, how do they prepare themselves and equip themselves so that they can ensure that the organization has the optimal resources to be competitive, right? Just like a strategic plan, the organization has a strategic plan, we're saying that you need to have a digital transformation plan. And within that digital transformation plan, there needs to be an AI strategic plan as well. So we get into things like governance and ethics, and that's a long conversation with regards to the use of AI and the ethics around the use of AI and regulations around AI within the organization, outside the organization. So happy to see that the government has now put a focus on AI, and what does that mean? We'll wait to find out, but obviously huge emphasis is going to be on data and a new respect for data, because data is the fuel for AI. If you don't have respect for data, and if you don't have data, then AI is useless.
Yeah, something definitely to keep in mind. Before we close our conversation though, as you mentioned, it's from the 5th to the 7th. You also have your pre-workshop. Where can we get more information about this, Dana? You
can visit the website, it's CSHRPteam.com. Where you can get more information about the actual workshops, the conference, and Disrupt HR.
Wonderful. And now, I know you mentioned virtual, but this is also going to be taking place in person?
Yes, so the pre-conference workshops will be held virtually prior to the 5th to the 7th. And within the 5th to the 7th, which is happening in person, there will also be the Disrupt HR sub-theme within there. So that is going to be happening in person in Trinidad and Tobago.
Wonderful. So, well, Ian and Dana, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Some great topics. Really looking forward to seeing what's going to come out of this, and hoping that you are able to go and take this in, because trust and believe it is going to be transformational. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Dana, Hayes-Burke, and Ian John with us this morning, speaking about Disrupt HR happening, Loud25 Disrupted rather. Stay tuned. There's more coming up on the Now Morning Show after this break.